Two of the questions that I would be asking is, based on that alone, for those, why, even if it's true that God, made that revelation to Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, why would God have kept it a secret for 1900 years? And why
wasn't it revealed
why
in the
isn't
Quran?
it in the Quran? Why didn't he reveal that to the Prophet Muhammad?
Well,
That's the question. If there was an Ahmadiyya here today and we were talking about Jesus, that's what I would want.
There are many
very, very
tough
tight
questions.
answer on.
There are many tough questions that the Ahmadiyya they will slip on. They will be unable to respond to. They have to realize that the entire project is a cult. They even have.
Do you believe that?
Yes, it's a pyramidical cult. You have this so-called Khalifah at the top. He has his. It's not like Sunni Islam, which is fluid, easy. We have a doctrine, but there's no overarching church to control Sunni Muslims. It's just it's a doctrine that's refined, meaning its arguments are refined over a period of over 1200 years. The schools of theology and the schools of jurisprudence have gone through a refinement of well over 1200 years. It's a continued tradition, but it's not controlled by a clergy. Irrelevant to what even secularists say regarding Islam is controlled by a clergy, that's not the case. It's very loosely organized, but we have set doctrines and set jurisprudence. But with the Qadianis, they have a pyramidical structure. He will have people underneath him who then give the orders and commands and how things should be debated. The man is unable to even recite the Quran correctly.
The current caliph.
Yeah, the current caliph. And even the current caliph, he's never coming forward for a debate because he's an ignorant man. He's very ignorant. He's not knowledgeable about Islam.
Why do you say that?
He's not trained in theology. He's not trained in the Arabic language.
How do you know that? In fairness to them, how do you know that?
I know that through observing his speeches. Okay. He's caught out on various mistakes. And if he is, then let him come forward and debate our Sunni theologians.
Well, we've tried to get the debating committee to the table and we haven't had much luck. So
yes, so
I'm not too sure we'll have much luck with the caliph.
Let's elaborate on that. So what happened was we attempted how many times? Twice?
Well, it was one part of, yeah.
And
there's only one part, yeah. I mean, obviously.
And each time they gave you a difficult time in.
I don't think they gave me a difficult time, and to be quite honest with you, for one part, it was going well, and I really, really did think that I was going to get a member of the Ahmadiyya community to come together with you to debate the key theological differences between Sunni Islam and
not only Sunnis, the whole.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any tricks up our sleeve. There was going to be no booing or cheering, and there was going to be no level of disrespect. And I think that they know you from your body of work. You're a successful author. You've written all these books. You're well known in the social media circle. They will have seen you. So it's not as if I was bringing them to meet Mr. Nobody. And also, we were going to choose somebody who was high-ranking in the Ahmadiyya community at your level and academic level, to have a serious debate about these key theological differences. And obviously, towards the end, we came across such resistance. I'm afraid I had to back out, and so did you, because our time was being wasted.
Well, what happened afterwards? They emailed me, and they released an official letter
on X, didn't they? Quite recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've challenged me, and I've accepted the challenge. Mm-hmm. So I've accepted the challenge.
And this was a challenge to debate them on just one particular point, was it?
Again, what point is that? The return of Jesus, because they are fixated on that. They don't want to debate, was Mirza Ghulam Ahmad a prophet of God? I mean, that's getting to the crux of the matter.
Well, we would have done that in our debate if it had gone ahead, yes.
Yes, but they realize that they will be stuck at various points. There are so many things they cannot answer. So they move to the issue of, will Jesus return? Now let's say...
Well, why are they so confident, do you think, that they will actually be able to debate you on that and win?
Because in the Quran, the return of Jesus is alluded to. So for instance, what is stated, وَإِن مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا لَيُؤْمِنَنَّ بِهِ قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ. The Quran says, there is no one from the people of the book, especially in reference to the Jews, except that they will believe in Jesus prior to his death. So the Quran states this. So that means Jesus hasn't died. So because the Jews do not believe in Jesus. So prior to their death, they will believe in Jesus. And that will happen when he returns. And similarly, the Christians do not believe in the correct concept of Jesus. So the Quran is saying, prior to them dying, meaning in the end of times, they will believe in the correct concept of Jesus. So the Quran is alluding to Jesus' return. But then in the mass transmitted hadith, it states Jesus will return. But what the Qadianis do with those hadith, like I mentioned, the tampering of the interpretation. Every hadith they will...
Well, they might counter-challenge you and say that you're tampering with your interpretation.
No, we go on the literal meaning. So we go on the literal meaning. Jesus will return at a white minaret in eastern Damascus. It's very literal. That would be actually questioning insulting your intelligence by saying that we are actually tampering the meaning. They are going on to far-fetched meanings with regard to the return of
And obviously, Jesus. As I said, there's the third layer. Obviously, there's the revelation, which is very hard to challenge. You either believe that or you don't believe it.
Yes, that we would count as the
revelation that God has said to Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. You either believe that or you don't believe that, because you can't prove that.
With regard to the statements of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, we would say those are the ravings of a madman in his room. You know, he had a room called...
They'd find that very, very offensive.
Yes, very insulting. They would find that. And I do insult Mirza Ghulam Ahmad as an individual. There's no doubt on that.
But to just finish off the point in Jesus, do you think that if you were to sit down and have this serious, respectful debate, that you would prove to all your followers and to everybody in the Muslim world outside the Ahmadiyya community that you are on the right path and that they're not?
I have no need to convince people around me and the Muslim world, because they already know Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was misguided. I tell you what would happen as a result of that debate. The Qadiani community, the Qadiani cult, the mental bondage or the mental shackles will break down in their own community. The young men, the young children will realize, the young men and women, they will realize we have been misguided all these years. We have been born into a cult. It has a structural, the structure of the group is like a cult. They behave like a cult. And they will realize that these chains on their minds with regard to Mirza Ghulam Ahmad have been placed in order to keep them within that cult structure. So I believe the debate, when it happens, hopefully they will approach.
And you're definitely 100% up to have this debate?
Yes, of course.
The sooner the possible?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And they should bring their best man. In fact, they should bring the Khalifah.
Wanted.
They should bring the Khalifah. The Khalifah should come forward and be a man and debate for once, because he has been avoiding our scholars for years and years and years, for decades.
You mentioned the Caliphate and the Caliph, the Khalifa. I mean, your last book was all about bringing back the Caliphate.
Yes.
Why didn't you go to him? Why didn't you request an audience with him? Because obviously you're writing this book. I mean, he's been the leader of the Ahmadiyya movement for a long time now.
Because he's an edgy character, very edgy. The way you can arrange a meeting with me very easily, or with any prominent Sunni scholar or leader, is very easy to do so. The Qadianis are a very edgy group. They are paranoid. They make false stories as well with regard to the Sunnis. In England, in the UK.
In fairness, I would have to correct you there. I mean, leaving aside the disappointment with the debating committee, the ordinary Ahmadiyya Muslim, I've had no problems with them. With my research, they've always been open,
not in reference to the ordinary, not in reference in reference to the so-called Caliph. The Caliph,
I've had no dealings with them, so
exactly,
I don't know.
That's the point. You won't.
I've never tried to have any dealings with them, so
meeting him would be more difficult for you as a Catholic to meet the Pope.
Oh, really?
Yes, so if you attempted to meet the Pope, it's easier for you to meet the Pope than meeting this
Really?
so-called Caliph.
Okay.
At least with the Pope, you know, the man has 1 billion people following him and actually does have influence within.
He's a busy man.
Even recently, the G7 meeting, when the
Yeah.
leaders were meeting him, this so-called Caliph, this guy who lives in England, is so difficult to meet. It's more difficult than meeting.
So you don't think he would have anything to teach you about the
I
caliphate?
offer the entire movement a debate challenge when it's very
Yeah.
clear. Bring your best man forward. Your caliph should be your best man. But if you do not put your caliph forward, then place your best scholar forward to debate the fact of what they believe with regard to Mirza Ghulam Ahmad being a prophet of God. Na'udhu billah.